Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're stepping right into maybe the hottest rivalry going in the NFL right now.
Oh, yeah.
Kansas City Chiefs, Buffalo Bills. We've looked at a ton of sources analysis, articles, commentary, all leading up to this big match.
And look, this isn't just another game on the schedule. If you're tracking the AFC, you absolutely need to understand what's happening here. Our sources, and we're talking analysis right up to October 31st, 2025, they all say this rivalry, it's really become one of the biggest in the whole league.
Right. And Patrick Mahomes, the Chiefs QB, he kind of summed it up perfectly, didn't he? With this confident little smile, knowing exactly what he's walking into in Buffalo. He just said, they don't like us.
That quote is just gold
Mm.
because he knows. He knows what's coming. It's not just going to be loud. It'll be, well, personal, electric, maybe even hostile. And listeners really need to get why it's so personal up there in Buffalo.
Yeah, let's dig into that hostility. Fundamentally, it really just boils down to the playoffs, right?
Absolutely.
For what, the last 5 years or so, Kansas City has basically been the wall, the gatekeeper, stopping Buffalo from getting to the Super Bowl, like a recurring nightmare for them.
Gatekeeper is a good word for it.
Yeah.
The sources back this up, and it's a tough stat if you're a Bills fan. Since 2020, Chiefs have ended the Bills' season 4 separate times, knocked them out on the way to the AFC Championship or the Super Bowl itself.
4 times?
Yeah, so it's not like a back-and-forth thing where they trade wins. It's one team consistently shutting the door when it matters most.
Okay, but is it fair to say, out of those 4 losses, even though they all stung, there's one moment that just overshadows everything, that concentrated bit of pain? We have to talk about January 2022, that moment everyone just calls 13 seconds.
You have to. Yeah, you just can't talk about the psychology of this game without going back there. It captures the whole dynamic perfectly.
Yeah.
The Bills, they played an almost flawless game. Josh Allen was incredible.
Right.
And then Mahomes just rips the win away in, well, what felt like an impossible amount of time.
Break down that sequence again. Buffalo thinks they've won. There are 13 seconds left. Chiefs have the ball way back on their own 25. And Mahomes moves them. What was it? 44 yards?
44 yards in just 2 plays.
2 plays.
Think about that. Just bang, bang, sets up Butker for the tying field goal, sends it to overtime, and, history says the Chiefs win. The analysis we looked at suggests that moment wasn't just an emotional scar. It was more like a deep trauma for the team, the fans, knowing that even perfection might not be enough against KC.
That's wow. But is 13 seconds the whole story of the playoff history, or is it just, the most dramatic part? What about the other 3 losses? Do they tell us something different?
That's a good point. 13 seconds is definitely the symbol, right?
Yeah.
The poster child for Buffalo's frustration. But those other 3 losses, they reinforce this idea that Kansas City just seems to have an edge structurally when January rolls around. Some analysis kind of hints it might be about coaching execution under that immense pressure. Andy Reid, he's got this reputation for taking regular season film, like film they're going to generate this Sunday, and finding ways to exploit weaknesses later in the playoffs.
Huh. So the history, driven by moments like 13 seconds, it sets the stage, but that's the past. How does all that psychological weight, impact this specific game coming up this weekend?
Right, because connecting that history to now, it shifts things.
Yeah.
This game, Sunday, November 2nd, it's huge because it could be a playoff tiebreaker down the line.
Yeah.
So suddenly, a Week 9 game feels like it have playoff intensity, but with the momentum kind of flipped, historically speaking.
Flipped how? Okay, we've got the Chiefs at 5-3, the Bills are 5-2. And our sources describe Buffalo as, solid team, high ceiling, but they're seeking more consistency. So where does that consistency come from?
Well, maybe it comes from winning these big regular season games against the Chiefs. Because here's the counterpoint, the thing that gives the Bills Mafia hope, while KC owns the playoffs lately. Buffalo has actually dominated the regular season series against them recently.
Really? Dominated how?
Buffalo's won the last 4 regular season meetings against Kansas City.
4 straight in the regular season?
Yep. That's a pretty big deal psychologically. It completely contrasts the playoff narrative. It suggests, okay, maybe KC finds the edge in elimination games, but Buffalo, they figured out how to win the slugfests in October or November.
Wow, 4 times. That split is really stark. So this game isn't just about the standings. For Buffalo, it's about proving that their recent regular season wins weren't flukes, that they actually mean something for the future.
Exactly.
The win here gives them that momentum, that belief heading into the tougher part of the season.
Precisely. If Buffalo wins, they keep that narrative going. See, we know how to beat these guys. We just need to do it in January. But if they lose, then maybe that playoff history, that trauma, starts to creep back in.
Okay, that sets the stage emotionally. Let's shift gears a bit from the history and the records to the actual tactics on the field. Because this game, like always, it comes down to the quarterbacks, right?
Yeah.
Mahomes versus Allen, two absolute stars.
For sure. And Mahomes, he's coming into Buffalo feeling pretty good, partly because his offense is finally getting healthy again. The sources say he's got an almost complete attack. And we need to talk about why that's important specifically. Who's back?
Right. The reports mention Rashee Rice and Xavier Worthy are back in the lineup. Why are those two guys specifically so crucial against this Bills defense?
Well, they changed the whole picture for the offense. Rice works underneath, in the slot, those intermediate routes. He's a reliable target against man coverage, which Buffalo uses a lot. But Worthy is about pure speed, vertical threat.
Stretching the field.
Exactly. He forces safeties to play deeper, opens things up. They can't just sit closer to the line to stop the run or bracket Kelce. So Mahomes suddenly has his deep ball threat back online, which makes everything else easier for Kelce, the running backs, everyone.
That sounds pretty scary for Buffalo, a reloaded Mahomes offense. But they're running into a serious challenge on the other side, right? Josh Allen and the Bills offense, they're facing a KC defense that's described as one of the best in the league now. This isn't the Chiefs' defense of, say, 2019.
No way. It's an elite unit now, top tier. And the numbers back it up. Our data shows the Chiefs' defense ranks, what, third best against the pass?
Yeah.
Against the aerial game?
Third best, yeah.
And it's not just talent, it's the scheme. Steve Spagnuolo, the DC, he loves to bring pressure, complex blitzes, disguising where it's coming from. It confuses quarterbacks.
Okay, so you've got Mahomes with all his weapons back going against this really tough, complex defense, which, on the flip side, means Josh Allen has to deal with that same elite pass coverage. It's a great tactical matchup.
And that brings up the key question, right? What happens when Spagnuolo dials up that pressure on Josh Allen? Allen's amazing, huge arm, great player. But sometimes, under pressure, he can try to do too much, play hero ball.
Right, the risky throws.
Yeah, which can lead to turnovers, especially against a defense this good.
So if the Chiefs' D can limit the deep stuff, force Allen into checkdowns, make him uncomfortable, that plays right into their hands. This game feels like a real test for Allen's patience against an elite defense. Can he take the short gains, trust his own defense, or will the pressure, maybe the history, push him into taking more chances?
It might force Buffalo to really commit to running the ball early on. Try to slow down that pass rush, keep the defense honest. If they can't run effectively, Allen could be under fire all day against the number 3 pass defense. And you know Mahomes is likely going to put up points, forcing the Bills to chase the game.
So it all circles back, the rivalry's appeal. It's that intense playoff history, summed up by 13 seconds, but now balanced by Buffalo's recent regular season wins. And just the star power. These two quarterbacks are defining this era.
Yep. And we kind of end up back where we started with Mahomes talking about playing in Buffalo, in that hostile environment. Even with all the noise, the hostility, he seemed to almost relish it, like he feeds off it.
Yeah, he called it the kind of environment we dream about when we are kids. Playing here is always special. He's basically saying the hatred makes the game bigger, makes it feel important.
Which leads us to that final thought for you, the listener. The sources are pretty clear. That Buffalo crowd, they will make a point of showing that he is not welcome. They're going to pour all that frustration, 4 years of playoff losses, the ghost of 13 seconds, right onto that field. So the question is, what does that collective hostility actually do to a player like Patrick Mahomes, who seems to use pressure as fuel? And maybe even more critically, how does Josh Allen handle his pressure, knowing he has to be near perfect in that environment to finally beat this team when it counts? We'll see on Sunday if history repeats or if recent momentum wins out.